What's going on, guys? Another video, another day, another Corona. Today we're installing a new part on the Focus ST, and that is the Boomba Stage 2 rear motor mount. Now this motor mount is basically a supporting mod to go along with the Focus ST's modifications and the tune that I have on it currently. Now as for the tune, the car is currently tuned by Stratified, which is a Canada-based company. They do tunes for Focus STs and Golfs and a few other things. Basically anything that can use an access port as far as I know. That might be wrong. Anyways, they do tuning for Focus STs. They're pretty reliable. A lot of people recommend them. So I went ahead and I got a tune recently on my Focus ST through Stratified. Basically, they take down what mods you have and then they build you a tune and they send you it based on what they have done for cars in the past. And their tune is pretty sick. It's more powerful, more torque than what you get with an off-the-shelf Cobb tune. And it also increases the car's drivability. So things like misfires at idle and misfires at low RPM totally disappear. Totally better fuel mapping than what Cobb or Ford does. And yeah, it's a good tune. But along with that tune comes a lot of torque, which means wheel hop, which the Focus STs are notorious for. Now on that note of wheel hop, just keep in mind the 2013 and 2014 Focus STs have a really weak rear motor mount, which is why I haven't updated mine until now. So the 2015 Focus STs got a better rear motor mount from factory, which helps a ton with the wheel hop, but still on hard accelerations in the lower gears, you're going to have the wheels hop, especially if it's a little wet out, a little cold out, and it's jarring. It's not a good feeling to have your wheels hop. A lot of bad things can happen if you don't get off the power while you're wheel hopping. So this rear motor mount actually eliminates the wheel hop that you feel in the Focus ST, and it improves shifting, makes the car feel a little more race car-ish without too much vibration, which is a side effect you get from motor mounts. But without further ado, let's stop all the jibber jabber and let's get to the actual car part. So guys, here we have the Boomba Stage 2 rear motor mount. It comes with not only what you normally see with the Cobb bits, which is the rearmost portion of the motor mount, but it also replaces the wishbone portion of the rear motor mount, which when combined gives you a much better, much more stable experience and holds that motor and the transmission a lot more still, especially if you're running pretty high torque numbers like a Stage 2 Focus ST Stage 3 would be. And so it's going to help hold that motor still and keep it from rocking back and forth. Quick disclaimer, this isn't an install video. If you want an install video, look at Boomba's. Boomba did a great install video. I'm just going to be going over with you guys, putting it in my car, and then we're going to drive it and I'll let you know what I think of it once we drive it. So yeah. Alright guys, we're outside and I have the tools out here that I suspect I'm going to need, so let's go over that really quick. So I've got a ratchet set, an impact with the 15 mil, which is for loosening off the big bolt that's holding the rear motor mount in, and I've also got some basic wrenches, some jack stands, my jack, and a couple spare wheels. Now the reason I have the spare wheels is because this job is not recommended to be done on jack stands. You should use ramps, like oil changing ramps or a hoist that'll hold this car a lot more steady while you loosen off the rear motor mount, because from what I've read online, they're pretty tight and getting some leverage on it could shake the car around, which could knock it off jack stands, which means you might die under there. So I'm going to be using jack stands and then also placing the wheels under each of the front wheels. So if the jack stands were to fail, it's only going to fall a couple inches and it won't crush me to death. So if you're doing it and you don't have jack stands, try to use something to put under the car that will force the car to stay up no matter what, like ramps or spare wheels apparently. Okay guys, so as you can see, jack stands are up. The car has a wheel under each one of its wheels. The car's in gear, e-brake is on, so nothing can move. And we should be good to go. Should be perfectly safe under there. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any recommendations for how to do this safer, because I'm all for safety of anyone trying this out, and I don't want anyone getting hurt. So if you have any recommendations, feel free to comment them. Alright guys, so here's the wishbone and the rear motor mount. As I was talking about earlier, the cob actually only replaces this piece at the back. It does not replace the wishbone portion, where this kit does. So we're replacing the bushing in there, and we're replacing the big bushing that's in behind this plate. Basically what you have to do is take off the exhaust brace here, and then loosen off all the bolts underneath the exhaust brace, and she should come out. I believe they're all 13s and 15s. And as for that bolt I was talking about that is usually really tight, it's this one here. That's the bugger that you don't want to really be reefing on if you don't have proper safety measures in place. Alright guys, so the exhaust downpipe bracket thing is pulled out of there, and I've got the deep socket 15 mil going crazy on the wishbone mount. I'll let you guys know when it's out. Alright guys, I'm just working my way back. Went from this one to this big boy bolt to the other big boy bolt, and these two which are the bolts that are actually going through the adhesive or the rubber, whatever you want to call it, of the motor mounts. I couldn't get them to come off with the little impact I have. I actually had to use a 1/2-inch socket and loosen them off by hand. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure your car is stable, because you really have to reef on those two. Now I think there's two around the back of the wishbone, and then we'll have this part out. Okay guys, so here we have the stock motor mount versus the Boomba motor mount. As you can see, it's a little bit smaller. A lot harder urethane in the bushing, and that's going to be able to hold the car a lot more steady, where this one has very soft urethane, and it allows a bit more flex for better drivability, more comfortable ride, but we won't go fast. Okay guys, the motor mount's in with all the stock hardware. The exhaust bracket is also back in. That extra nut that the kit came with, never figured out where it belongs, and I didn't see it in the Boomba tutorial. So let's just say I don't need it. I don't know. Everything's tight. Everything's back together. So worst case scenario, I'm going to find out. So guys, I just got in the car to move it. Everything's been buttoned back up, and Yuri just got here with his car, so we're going to wash the cars. But I started up the ST to move it, and there's like a noticeable difference in vibration, more than I thought there would be, because in a lot of the reviews guys are like, oh, it vibrates a little bit, but like it's pretty noticeable. Like when you crank the engine over, it like really shakes the car. Like at that, I just revved it a bit, and that like first couple seconds on throttle, the car like really shakes. So I'm interested to see how it feels driving it. Right now that the cars are clean, got Yuri with me, we're gonna go take this thing for a test drive. And
oh, you feel that?
Yeah, when you start, you definitely feel the difference.
You definitely feel that.
All right, well, we're gonna go take her around the corner to a little hot spot and do a couple pulls. So first impressions driving it, as you come off the clutch, if you lug it now, it really shakes the car. Like it does not want to be lugged. It wants you to come off the clutch perfectly smooth. While driving, like once you get going, you don't really notice it. And in a second here, we're gonna do a bit of an acceleration and see how it feels from a low speed acceleration, which is basically the entire point of this mount. If you have a 2013, 2014 ST, this mount's gonna do a lot more for you in the higher gears, like even up to 4th gear, because like I mentioned earlier in the video, the mount on the 2013, 2014 is really weak, where the 15 Plus got a better mount, but this is still a huge upgrade from even that mount. So once we get around this corner, we'll give her the juice in second. It's too cold out right now to even try first. It'll just spin the tires, but we'll give her in second gear. Yeah, it feels good. Feels good, man. No wheel hop, whereas like I noticed before in second gear in a pull like that, in these temperatures, you would have got wheel hop just because of the amount of wheel spin. It definitely makes the car feel more race car. The shifts are a little tighter. Some guys mentioned feeling a huge difference in the shifts, but the shifts are definitely tighter. There's, instead of the kind of clunk that you get, you just have kind of one clunk now instead. It's a little bit noticeable, but honestly not as crazy as people make it sound. So on the other end of that, I think that people say it's not as bad as far as the vibration goes because in their own mind they want to have some self-delusion to think I didn't ruin my daily. I didn't ruin my daily, but you did make it a bit more race car for sure. The car has a lot more vibration. Like I said, while driving, it's not so bad, but at the lower speeds and getting off the line, there's a lot more vibration. It's something you're definitely going to notice. So if you daily the car every day and it's something that's gonna bug you, I wouldn't recommend this mount. But if you wanna be race car, go for it. So there we go, guys. That was my install and a little bit of a review on the Boomba Racing rear motor mount. And after that last clip, we actually did a couple more like higher speed pulls, like going from second to third, flat foot, and third to fourth. And the car feels like really, really good. Like I said, the shifting feels a little bit better. It's not super noticeable, but it is a little bit better of a clunk. I think if you were to do the shifter linkage mods along with this, you would notice like a huge difference in shifter feel, but I'm not one of those like shifter purists. Like it's plenty good enough for me. So it's not something I'm planning on doing, but maybe if you already have it done, you're looking at this rear motor mount, just understand it's going to enhance those shifter mods just a little bit more. And again, on the downside, there is a lot of vibration in the car. Now, as the motor mount breaks in, there might be a little bit less, and also you're going to get used to it, so it's something that's not going to bother you. If it bothers you in the beginning, it's going to ease off a bit, and it's not going to bother you as you own the car with that mount in it, because it's going to ease off a bit and it's going to become less noticeable, especially as you get used to it. Overall, I would say if you're looking for more of a race car feel in your Focus ST and you want that low-end acceleration of really getting up to speed quickly, especially in like a front-wheel drive without just bouncing the wheels all over the place, I would recommend this, especially if you have a tune and stage 2 level mods. Maybe if you don't quite have that level of mods yet for power and torque on your car, the Cobb rear motor mount or the Montoon rear motor mount might be something more of what you're looking for, because they are less aggressive, whereas this mount is pretty aggressive. Like I said, it's all about being race car. So if you want to be fast, you want to be sick, this is the mount for you. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, and if you need a full install video, I'll link it in the description. And other than that, it was pretty straightforward. If you want to install it, it's like take the bolts off, put the bolts back on with the new parts. Thanks for watching, guys. Like the video, comment if you want, and subscribe because I need more subscribers. Okay, goodbye.